Hello, today's lesson is 8.3. It's about surface areas of pyramids. And the essential question is, how can we use a net to find the surface area of a pyramid? This is on page 370 in your Big Ideas textbook. So the key idea talks about the net of a square pyramid. And remember that pyramids and prisms are named after the shapes of their bases. So that means a square pyramid has a square as the base. And then the sides, of course, are all triangles. So when you unfold it and flatten it, you'll see that you have, because a square has four sides, the pyramid has four triangles. And then notice that when you lay this flat, you can see that the height of the triangle is perpendicular to the base of the square, which is also the base of the triangle, right? And so what I want to point out is that this height of the triangle, if I can kind of mark it, let's mark it in blue here. So when you look at this distance, it is a right angle, the height of the side triangle to the base of the triangle. This kind of looks like the slant height, which you normally don't use. But because you're thinking about unfolding the triangle and laying it flat, it's not a slant height. It actually is the height of the triangle. So I just want to point that out in case you're thinking that you didn't want to be fooled by that. So the surface area of a pyramid is equal to the area of the base plus the area of the lateral triangular faces. Now with different shapes of pyramids, right, there could be different numbers of lateral sides. But for a square pyramid, there's always going to be four sides because a square has four sides on it. And then I want you to know that this we could sort of write a formula for this. SA stands for surface area, right? So the surface area of a pyramid is equal to B squared. So we take the side length of the square and we multiply it by itself because that's the area of the base, plus 4 times the area of each of the triangular faces. Now, oftentimes I will use B times H divided by 2 in place of this, right? But when you multiply by 1/2, it's the same as dividing by 2. So whichever way you like to look at it, the tricky part is just make sure that you remember that triangles are divided by 2 because a triangle is half of a rectangle, right? When we look at the formula, if you just do base times height, you've now found the area of a rectangle and you have to divide it by 2 or multiply it by 1/2 to find the triangle. Okay, so let's look at an example where you're going to be finding the surface area of a square pyramid. So here's the picture, and this is what I was telling you, that it looks like this 10 is a slant height. But remember, once you lay the triangle flat, it's not a slant height. This side of the triangle would be the slant height, and we don't even have that measurement given to us. Okay, so let's draw a net first, right? The easiest thing to do is draw the square. And then you're going to know that there are 4 triangles that go off the square. So you need to copy each of the triangles and you try to make it look, it's about the same. Try to make all 4 of the triangles to be the same size. It doesn't have to be quite to scale, but it looks better when you try to make all 4 triangles the same size. And then I'm trying to turn these around so that they fit on here. Okay, so now notice I have, again, kind of this little graphic organizer down below, and I like to draw in my formulas in the net. And so then when I get down to here, all I'm doing is writing in the product, right, the area of each of those. So the square is 7 times 7. And the triangle, I'm just going to write the formula for one of the triangles. It might help also if I just label each of my triangles so that you can see that the bases are 7 and the height is 10. So I do 7 times 10 divided by 2. 7 times 10 is 70 divided by 2 is 35. So the area of the base of the pyramid is 7 times 7, which is 49. And remember, it's meters squared because you're counting two dimensions. You're counting the squares inside, two-dimensional squares. The area of each of the sides is 35 meters squared. Now the cool part is, once I've found the area of one triangle, all I need to do is write in the other three. They are the same. And then when I add them all together, I get 189 meters squared. So the surface area is 189 square meters. Okay, so now we are at an OYO, and that's kind of all we have for the rest of this lesson is for you to pause the video. There's going to be 3 OYOs. Pause the video, try each OYO, and then check your work and see how you're doing. And don't forget to draw the net, right? It really helps with understanding what a 3-dimensional figure looks like when you lay it flat. Okay, so I am going to just point out that the square is 2 by 2. So when I pull this square over, I'm going to label the dimensions 2, 2, 2, and 2. And then I'm going to draw each of the 4 triangles. There's one. There's triangle number 2. Triangle number 3. And triangle number 4. Okay, and of course I'm going to label the height of at least one of my triangles. So I think I'll pick this one here. And I'm going to label this height equals 3. So here is my base and there's my height. So I'm going to go ahead inside this square. I'm going to notice I'm going to write 2 times 2 because that's how you find the area of a square, right? Length times width. And then the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So I have 6 divided by 2, which equals 3. So the base is 2 times 2, which is 4, and the units are feet squared. So I have 4 feet squared for the base. And then each of the triangles, the lateral faces that you see are 3 feet squared. So I can just go ahead and write 3 feet squared in all of these. And then I add up 3, 6, 9, 12, plus 4 is 16 feet squared. Okay, here is another example for you to try. I'm sorry, not an example. This is another OYO. I want you to draw the net and find the surface area of the square pyramid. Go ahead and pause the video. I will draw mine. Okay, so I start by drawing. I try to make it look square, right? This is the the square base, which is 5 by 5. So each of these sides of the square are 5. And then the triangle, the height of the triangle is also 5. So this height from the top to the bottom, h equals 5. So I'm going to try to draw each of these with a height of 5. Oops, that one was a little bit short. And then the last one, height equals 5. Okay, so inside here, I know that the square is 5 times 5. And then I know that each triangle is, right? So here's my base is 5, my height is 5. I do 5 times 5 divided by 2. Now, this is a decimal, right, which is okay because I know when I do 5 times 5, it's 25. And when I divide it by 2, I get, let's do 25 divided by 2 equals 12.5. So the base is 25 centimeters squared, and each of the sides is 12.5 centimeters squared. 12.5 centimeters squared. So the great thing about a square square pyramid, that once I have the area of one triangular face, all the other ones are the same. And then I just add them up all together and I get 75 square centimeters. Okay, last one. I hope you're finding these pretty easy. Notice that the base of the square, this looks like a candle, the base of the square is 4. So when I draw my picture, I'm drawing a square that's 4 by 4. So I'm going to put 4s on all the sides. And then the height of the triangle is perpendicular to the base is 3.6 inches. So when I draw my picture, it looks like this. So I'm going to label that 3.6 inches, and that is the height. So I just need to draw, maybe I'll label one more with a oops, I forgot the perpendicular symbol over here. This is 3.6. And then, of course, I've got 2 more triangle lateral faces to draw. And then inside, I do like to remind myself of what numbers I'm going to be putting in the graphic organizer down here. The square area is 4 times 4, and the triangular area equals base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to plug in 4 times 3.6 divided by 2. And when I do, let's see, 4 times 3.6, just do some quick math over here. 24, regroup the 2, 12, 14. There's one decimal place, so I need to put the decimal there. And I got 14.4. And then when I take 14.4 and I divide it by 2, I get 7.2. So the triangle area is 7.2. And so let's go ahead and fill out the graphic organizer. The square in the middle is 4 times 4, which is 16 inches squared. The sides are all 7.2 inches squared. 7.2 inches squared, 7.2 inches squared, and the fourth one is the same. And when I add those all together, 7 times 4, 28, plus 16, 44, and then I have the 0.2468. So I get 44. I was just trying to add with some mental math. 44.8 inches squared. Okay, so that's really all there is to finding the surface area of a square pyramid.